Hi, everybody. My name is Emily McNamara, founder of Focal Point Bookkeepers. And in this video, we are going to review how to upload transactions from a file into your bank feed. So a reason for doing this might be that when you imported your data, originally set up your bank feeds, which we cover in another video. The banks typically only allow you to go back 3 months and pull in 3 months worth of transactions. So maybe you're setting up your account for the first time, but you want to look at a year's worth of data and get all of that information into the system. Then you'll have to export those transactions from your banking website into a CSV file and then come into QuickBooks and upload here. It's pretty simple process. There is a little bit of mapping that's involved, but for the most part, it is pretty smooth to get all of those transactions in here. One thing I like to start with is by going into the account in which you want to upload the data for, looking at what is categorized and sorting it by the oldest date here. Looking at the earliest date you have transactions in here will ensure that you're not duplicating anything. So you want your import to go through, in this case, March 31st, 2024. If you added transactions into April, you could see you are perhaps getting duplications from things that have already been sucked into your bank feed. One thing I like to do, because there are sometimes overlaps or differences in when the transaction is processed versus when it's posted, is looking at those March 31st transactions in this case, comparing them to these April 1st ones and making sure there aren't any that overlap there. If there are any that overlap, just simply delete them from your upload. So this is my data set, and any bank export of transactions should look fairly similar to this. An account number, a credit for any of the deposits, a debit for any expenses or withdrawals from your accounts, and a posted date. There are some that combine this into one column where the expenses have a negative amount and the credits are a positive amount, and we'll cover that when we go through the mapping part of the QuickBooks upload. So before I import this, I am going to just double check by sorting this that I don't have any duplications. So I would certainly look at the March 31st transactions and compare those to these April 1st ones. Make sure there aren't any duplications there. This data is fabricated, so there aren't any duplications, but if I did find one, then I'm just simply going to delete this row so that it doesn't upload into QuickBooks and create a duplicate. Now that we have reviewed, we can go over here to link account and select upload from file from the drop down list. We're going to manually upload our transactions. We already did this in the step where we linked our bank feed and found all of those transactions to pull in. This is for adding those older transactions. So one important thing to note, if you don't find your file, make sure it's not an Excel file. Typically, these will be exported from your bank as a CSV, but if you open it up and save it, and perhaps save it as an Excel file, you won't find it when you click in there, so make sure it's saved as a CSV. Now we're going to tell QuickBooks which bank account these transactions belong to. In this case, it's business checking. And we're going to refer to that data set as we go through. Is the first row of your file a header? And indeed it is. So let's go back here. This is yes. So how many columns show amounts? So in this file, it's 2. We've got debit and a credit. If you have a file where it's just one amount for those transactions, you would select one column here. What's the date format used in your file? So we've got this typical month, day, and year in 4 characters for the year. Let me double check that it's yep. Okay. And now that we've gone through the structure of our file, we're going to make sure it's mapped to the right field. So the QuickBooks field is a date, and I want that to match the posted date in my file. The description that's going to come into QuickBooks is the description column from my file, this file. So we've got date, we've got description, and then here we've got, because we have 2 columns, we're going to choose the correct column for which is money received, so any deposits. And we can confirm that that is the second column, this credits column. And money spent, any expenses or withdrawals, is the debit column. Check number. So if you have an additional column that does show the check number, certainly add that in here. It might come through as a memo column when you export it from your bank, but if you have that data available, definitely use it, even though it's optional. You might not have it in your bank export, and then you'll just skip it like I'm going to do here. Now we're going to check and make sure, confirm that the dates, descriptions, and amounts that are going to be posted in QuickBooks match what your bank transactions actually are. As this states here, positive numbers are deposits or income transactions, expenses are negative. My descriptions are default, so it's very easy for me to tell here that yes, these are expenses, they are negative values, that makes sense. For you, as you go through this, just confirm, yep, this is a vendor, this is a monthly recurring expense that I have, this is negative, these are my deposits, my income transactions, and those are positive. And if that all is aligning, you'll keep the original values. You'll see here, if you reverse them, it will just simply change the negatives to positives. Select all to import everything you have here. This is another area where you can, if you forgot to exclude anything that is perhaps a duplicate, you can simply uncheck it here. But as a best practice, I like to eliminate those from the very beginning so they're not overlooked in this mapping process. And we're confirming, yes, go ahead and import. And here we are, import is completed. We are then going to be routed back to our bank feed, where we'll see all of those transactions that we imported are ready to be categorized, just like the ones that we had automatically sucked in. and we'll go through that process just like we had in the previous video. So I'll link that here if you want to take a look at the next step in this, in processing these transactions from your bank feed, creating rules. Please let me know if you have any questions at all, any comments or additional tutorials you would want to see here. I'm happy to create those for you. Hope this was helpful and have a wonderful day.